Hello. Becoming overly stressed is a bit like filling a bathtub with water. Both can rise either rapidly or more slowly, but when they overflow, the consequences can be catastrophic. The secret is to catch both when they start to fill either the bath or your life. The longer you leave them, the harder it becomes to stop the flow. Now, in my previous two videos, I talked about ways of monitoring and managing the flow of stress, first by using electrical patterns in your brain, and in the second video by monitoring changes in the electrical resistance of your body. In this, my third and final video on the subject, I'll be discussing monitoring stress levels by using two of the other physical changes stress produces in your body. The first is heart rate variability, and the second changes in the temperature of your skin. So let's start by looking at heart rate variability. What exactly does this mean? Well, heart rate variability, HRV for short, is the variation in time between each heartbeat. Now, this is under the control of the primitive part of our nervous system, which is responsible for the fight, flight or freeze response. This is called the Autonomic nervous system, or ANS. The ANS regulates such vital tasks as heart rate, blood pressure, breathing, inhalation and exhalation, and digestion. And it does all this like an automatic pilot without you ever having to think about it, which obviously is just as well. Imagine having to tell your heart to beat every second, day and night, your lungs to inflate and deflate 14 or so times a minute, and telling your lungs to digest the food you've just eaten. Now, the ANS is divided into two components which perform very different functions. The sympathetic branch, which is also known as the step-up mechanism, makes us more aroused. It causes the heart to beat more rapidly, for example, while the parasympathetic branch, the other branch, or the slow-down branch, takes over when we start to relax and unwind. Your heart rate will increase under three circumstances. One is when you are taking physical exercise. The second is when we become frightened or anxious, whether or not this is real fear or what I call fun fear, as for example when on a theme park white knuckle ride. Although the experience can be terrifying, as you can see in this video, participants typically enjoy themselves enormously and get a kick out of being afraid and feeling their heart rates soar. The third time HRV changes is when we become stressed, whether this is at work or outdoors or in the home. When the sympathetic branch takes charge for too long, it can generate crippling levels of stress. By monitoring heart rate variability, you can spot rising levels and take action to slow them down, perhaps by using one of the relaxation or hypnotherapy techniques which Dan and I teach on this site. So let's take a look at two of the best devices on the market. These will enable you to undertake such monitoring quickly and easily and discreetly. This is the EM wave, which monitors heart rate via an earlobe. This is a scientifically validated heart rate monitoring system which helps you learn how to develop an optimal state in which heart, mind and emotions are all in balance. The iRelax uses biofeedback taken via the finger to aid relaxation and stress management. It guides you to slow, steady and deep breathing, telling you when to breathe out and when to breathe in. When it comes to skin temperature, this arises due to what is termed peripheral blood flow. That is the changes in the blood flowing to these small capillaries beneath your skin. As we all know, I think, when we become frightened, our face may become pale with shock as the blood is sent to the muscles in preparation for the fight or flight response. So let's take a look at some of the gadgets that are available to measure both these stress-related changes. As before, there are two ways of doing it. One is cheap and simple, and the other rather more complicated and expensive. The low-cost way is to use a biodot like this one. This changes colour according to your skin temperature. An amber colour on the dot indicates 89.6 degrees Fahrenheit and shows that you are stressed, while blue or violet, which indicate 93.6 and 94.6 degrees, show a calm and relaxed state. The next method is by using a simple electronic device such as this one, which provides you with a constant readout on a numerical scale. The devices I've just mentioned cost between a few pence to a few dollars or pounds. The biofeedbacks and the biodot cards are cheap. The other equipment is more expensive, perhaps over £100 or $100, but these are technologically sophisticated heart rate monitors. I'd like to repeat what I said in my two previous videos. I'm not being paid to promote any of these products, but I've used them all with good effect in both my own and my professional therapeutic life. I'll end by showing you a short piece of video which I recorded a few years ago to help people learn how to reduce stress through deliberate hand warming. As I explained, this can prove extremely useful when you need to relax in situations where you're in company. For example, if you're about to make a speech in public, or make a contribution at a meeting, or give a presentation at work.
Hello, in this video I want to tell you about a way of relaxing which is simple to learn and can be used to relax unobtrusively in situations where it wouldn't really be appropriate or perhaps even possible to use one of the deep muscle relaxation techniques I describe on this website. The method involves hand warming, and here's how it works. If you're in good health, the temperature inside your body, that is your core temperature, will be 98.4 degrees Fahrenheit or 37 degrees centigrade. However, the temperature on the outside of the skin is typically a lot lower. This is especially so when you become anxious. One of the reasons why people go pale and clammy when shocked is because the blood is drained away from directly beneath the skin as part of the primitive fight and flight response. By diverting blood to the muscles and the brain, it increases the chances of you escaping a physical threat by running away or standing still and fighting. By redirecting the blood flow directly back to beneath the skin, you'll not only make yourself warmer, but you'll also become more relaxed. The skin temperature is normally highest when we're calm and lowest when we're feeling anxious. Now, there are three ways of warming your hand, and it's usually best to use your dominant hand, that is your right hand, if like me you're right-handed. Now, some people are able to warm their hand simply by focusing on the dominant hand and imagining it becoming warmer and warmer. The second method is to imagine you're holding your hand in front of a roaring log fire. Picture this as vividly as you can and imagine the heat from the flames warming your hand. The third approach is to hold the palm of your hand a centimetre or so in front of your cheek. You might like to try it now. You'll notice your cheek is a hot spot. You can feel it generating the heat. Now, I want you to imagine that this heat is flowing from your cheek and warming your hand. Now, all these techniques take a certain amount of practice to achieve. And I suggest you experiment with each of the 3 techniques I've worked out to find which one works best for you. By mastering hand warming, you'll find it possible to redirect the blood flow quickly and easily, and in doing so, you'll leave yourself feeling calmer and far more relaxed.
Before leaving these videos, I'd like to make a couple of important points about the first one, in which I showed you how to use flashing lights in order to entrain the brain and produce a more relaxed meditative state. Sometimes called digital drugs, these can be powerful and visually dramatic ways of relaxing, but before using any of them, you should be aware of these points. About 1 in 10,000 people are at risk from photosensitive epilepsy, that is a seizure precipitated by flickering lights. Now, the majority of those who suffer from photosensitive epilepsy are either children or teenagers. It most commonly starts around the age of puberty and typically resolves spontaneously in middle life, with the most common precipitating factors these days being television, flickering screens. Now, flickering lights are so frequently encountered in the modern world that for an adult with no history of the condition and the risk of there should be very little risk to using such a device. As a precaution, however, I don't recommend anyone under the age of 18, or of course with a history of any form of epilepsy, to use these flashing lights. Secondly, you should only watch the lights when using the glasses with your eyelids closed, never with your eyes wide open. Well, thank you very much for watching. I hope you found what I had to say in these 3 videos of some interest and use. In my next video, I'll be talking about the value of anxiety and stress reduction apps, which are becoming ever more popular and widely available on the internet. Are they any good? Do they help? Or are they just a clever marketing ploy that exploits people suffering from anxiety-related mental health problems? In this video, I'll be talking to one of the world's leading experts on these apps, neuroscientist Dr. Judson Brewer of Brown University. He has made a detailed study of them, created one himself called Unwinding Anxiety, and written a best-selling book with the same title, which you can easily find on Amazon. Well, until that time, thank you very much for watching, and do please subscribe if you would like Dan and I to keep you up to date with the latest procedures for changing your life by changing your mind.